When people are trying to learn a skill, they can approach it in one of two ways: goal-oriented learning and identity-based learning. I don't know if I made these terms up or if they already exist, but either way, I'm just going to elaborate. First of all, what I mean by goal-oriented learning is when you're trying to learn a certain skill in order to achieve something else, to achieve a specific goal. For example, you're learning piano just so that you can learn how to play this specific piece, or you're learning art so that you can draw a person, etc., etc. Whereas the other method, identity-based learning, is where you're aiming to embed a skill into your lifestyle. For example, if you want to learn the piano, but using this method, it would be like you want to learn how to play the piano to become a musician. Basically, the main message here is that before you want to learn something, you must first figure out why you want to learn it, because knowing whether you want to learn it just to achieve something like a definite goal, or whether you want it to be a part of your identity, will change the kind of pathways you would have to take. Number 1, the goal-oriented pathway. Now, if you decided that the reason you're learning something is to achieve a certain goal, then these are the steps I advise you to take. Number 1, make a document of some sort, organizing your aim and breaking it down into smaller, more achievable objectives. This way, you don't overwhelm yourself with feeling like you have to achieve the goal immediately, and you can break it down into steps that are more manageable. Number 2, tackle the objectives one by one, similar to the first point. Just don't overwhelm yourself immediately. That would lead to burnout and eventually procrastination, because the feeling of failure is very unpleasant and we tend to like to avoid it. So in order to not do that, just take the objectives one by one, step at a time. Number 3, don't stress over mastering the skill. If you choose goal-oriented learning, it's probably the case that you don't have to learn everything around the skill. There are only certain aspects of the skill that you need to master, instead of trying to learn everything from like beginner to advanced. Just learn the specific things that you need to know. And my 4th advice is to just be patient with yourself and consistent. Learning a skill doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of time. However, if you're patient with yourself, if you're understanding that you will fail at first, you will find it really difficult, then you are more likely to just stick with it and then succeed and then improve and then become amazing. So yeah. Now, for identity-based learning, this is the approach I recommend you to take. Step 1, establish a routine. Why? This is because if you already have a routine that you automatically do, then it's easier to embed or implement new habits into it. Step 2, you implement the skill that you need to practice, whether it's using the cue and then you do the habit and then reward system that they talk about in Atomic Habits, or just setting a timer of when you wake up you do this, or when this timer goes off you do this thing, and then adding it as a part of your routine. And then step 3 is to establish a goal. Since there's no definite endpoint with this learning method, you need to make artificial checkpoints for yourself. For example, continuing with the piano example, by the way, if you want to become a musician, then what is your first goal? Is it to become a fluent sight reader, to compose music, learn music theory, finish grade 1 piano, etc., etc.? Advice 4, this is just pieces of advice now, by the way, they're not steps anymore. Advice 4 is to just be patient and consistent again. This is with any skill or hobby. Patience and consistency is the key. And another extra piece of advice, don't rush and skip steps in your journey. Just relax and enjoy the process of learning the skill as it comes. Because with this method, it isn't really about the end goal. It's about becoming a certain type of person you want to be. which is a really good goal to have, by the way. Now, in case you wanted a few more examples of the difference between identity-based learning and goal-based learning, then here are a few examples. This is Jeffrey. Jeffrey wants to learn how to draw, but first he must ask himself, does he want to draw so he can draw a specific idea he has in mind, or does he want to draw to become an artist? Here's another example. He wants to learn how to dance, but he has to question himself, why does he want to dance in the first place? Is it because he wants to learn a specific type of dance, a specific K-pop choreography, or is he just bored and he wants to become a dancer and he wants to be part of a dancing group, etc, etc. So yeah, that's all for today. I hope you liked my video, and if you did, consider subscribing. Bye!